When you're driving, be sure to avoid a truck's blind spots. If you can't see a truck's mirrors, they can't see you. Increased construction across Sydney means more trucks on our roads, so be truck aware.
The Informed Investor, thanks to Century 21. Smarter, bolder, faster. Go to century21.com.au.
10 to 10 from buying cars to buying property, whether it be as an investment or a place to put your head down and live in. Charles Tarby is the chairman of Century 21 Australasia. Great to catch up with you again.
Thank you very much, Steve.
How'd we go on the weekend? Any improvement on clearance in the major markets?
Yeah, there were a couple of standouts. Most of it was fairly well below what it was this time last year. The clearance rate was 59.1 versus 66.9 last year. They're starting to get closer to each other because we're now sort of matching apples with apples because of the market started changing probably about 8 or 9 months ago. But the real standout was your hometown again, which is Adelaide. It beat every capital city with just over 64%.
It's on fire, Charles.
It is. It's really quite extraordinary. Adelaide and Brisbane are bucking the trend. If you talk to people in Melbourne and Perth and in Sydney, they're all really battling. A lot of the agents are battling, and especially at auctions, they are working very, very hard to get a result. But I happen to be speaking to a couple of the officers in Queensland, gave them all a call last week just to chat to them about a variety of things, and each one of them said to me that this last month just gone, particularly one office, has been around for a dozen years. It's the record month they have had ever since being in business. So it's really extraordinary when you look at that market and you hear what's going on elsewhere, because interestingly enough, Brisbane was the only capital city in this last week that actually was better than this time last year.
Must be listening to this program. I mean, we've been talking the Adelaide market up for 12 months. We've personally, you and I, set it on fire.
And why isn't anybody listening to us? That's the part I can't work out, Steve.
I can't work that out either. If you were going to sell a property between now and when shops shut up for the Christmas period this year, would you be advising someone to auction it, to put it into a private sale? What would you do?
Auction is, to me right now, is a very specialised situation. I certainly wouldn't favour auction for the average property that's out there right now. I'd be less than inclined to go ahead and spend all that money up front. Auction has its place in the real estate market. In my view, it's always had its place in specialty areas, in low volume listing areas, a special type of property. It's always had its place there. Even with matrimonial or probate or trustee, those have to be sold at auction, because you need to be able to make sure that everybody, if there's 5 or 6 family members, that if any one of them wants to buy the property, they've got a fair opportunity to do so at auction. But it also demonstrates that everything is at arm's length. But as for the current market, only specialised property or areas where there are low listings, I would be auctioning.
And the rest, you just put a price on it and stick it up for sale?
I would definitely put a price on it. It's pretty hard not to see what's going on out there in pricing. I mean, you can look around and you've got all sorts of areas to gather enough data to determine what the price should be. The reality is this, Steve, we're almost back to the days when I was selling real estate, where a lot of people would say, I'll only sell it because the property I want to buy is going to cost me this much. And it was all about that. But the truth is right now, if you want to sell your property, you need to price it accordingly, and you need to listen to the agent on a weekly basis, and you need to look at the market as much as you can on a weekly basis, because it's very, very hard to extract offers. And when you do get them nowadays, it's getting even harder to get the finance. If
you're going to put a price on it, how many valuations would you get? I mean, would you go to 2 or 3 people to work out what you think it's worth?
I would do more than that. I mean, the agents have obviously got an idea, but you can get all sorts of automated valuation reports. You can find out roughly what the property's worth. You can have a look in other real estate agents' windows around the traps and try to match. You can go to open for inspections and try to find out whether your property matches with properties and prices. I think that's what you've got to do nowadays, because even the agents themselves, as you would know, when you saw the auction clearance rates last year, every second agent was saying, I sold it above reserve. So if you'd have put the property on the market at a private treaty, you might have lost money. And so everybody was confused by the market then, and they're even more confused now.
How competitive are agents now on what their commission would be?
I think you'll find commissions are actually start to increase because it's taking a lot longer to market a property now. And then you've got the agents that, without naming names, that claim they don't charge commission, but they charge an upfront fee. So I think businesses that charge an upfront fee, where if they don't get a result, you don't get a refund, are probably going to struggle in this market because there's going to be a lot more property. So you're going to be inclined not to pay somebody between $5,000 and $8,000 to sell your property and not get a refund if it doesn't go through. So I think agents right now, you want an agent that's going to be there for, going back to the old reward for effort. You want somebody to get you a result before you pay them, and you want to pay them based on that result. You don't want to be giving out money to anybody right now. And not knowing that you're going to get a result or a refund if it doesn't sell.
What's a competitive percentage? 1%, 2%,
No,
1.5%?
I think that's low. In certain areas, you can certainly, a vendor can certainly ask for a 1% or 1.5% fee. This is where there's that limited stock. But realistically, when you start going out to country towns, as an example, Steve, agents have been charging, 2.5% to 3.5% in some areas. And where there are properties that sit on the market for 3 or 4 or 5 months, most agents are just not inclined to take the listing now. It's sort of reversed the other way. So I would think a minimum fee should be 2% average across an area. Maybe negotiate slightly down, or you may have to pay a little bit more. But that's where I think a fair fee is. Certainly different to what our counterparts charge in the US, which is 6%.
Oh, exactly. I know, amazing stuff. Always a pleasure to catch up. You know more about it than anyone else. Thanks, Charles.
Good on you, Steve. Thank you.
Charles Tarbey there, the chairman of Century 21 Australasia.